Welcome to the Royal Roundtable Podcast, where we push the culture forward on anything and everything content creation related. I'm your host, Mikey J. Before we jump into the podcast, make sure you head over to lostroyalty.co and subscribe for $4.99 to support and listen or watch the podcast a couple days early. This is the Royal Roundtable Podcast. What is poppin', people? It's your boy Mikey J, who might host Iyoku. This is the Royal Roundtable Podcast, where we push content creator. Oh, that is not what I meant to say. Content creator culture forward. That's hard to say. I promise you, it's very hard to say. But today we have an amazing guest, super talented, super handsome, and my homie, Lotus Asakura. Introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah, what's good? My name is Lotus Asakura, the one who never knows best from the Hanakage of Hanagake. How y'all doing? And thank you for having me. I appreciate the warm welcome and the introduction. Might be a little cap in your rap, I ain't gonna lie.
No, not at all.
Consider myself all that talented, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Never, ever cap. But
never.
Today, never. No,
I like how the face is focused right now. It wasn't focused earlier, and then it focused for just that moment. I'm like, hell yeah.
All right, so on this podcast, we always ask our guests two questions.
No.
This will not be different. So, Lotus, yourself from 1 year ago, how different are you from 1 year ago today?
See, a year ago today, so that's June of 2021. Honestly, I'm definitely in a much better place mentally, I want to say. Although I definitely have some more responsibilities and pressures that I think I was prepared to see coming at this point in life. But I don't know, I feel like not a whole lot has changed about me. If you were to say like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think things are pretty different for me in life right now. And I think like an even older version of Lotus, like 4 or 5 years ago, would be like, yo, like we did it. Like, because I definitely have achieved a lot more success in what I do within these last couple of years. But a year ago was like we're halfway. Because it was in 2020 that like I really started my grind, where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this for real.
I mean, you can, if you don't mind, go into it. You know, we're here, so like that difference between 3 or 4 years ago compared to now, and that thought process, what it took.
I mean, so if we talking like 3-4 years ago, I wasn't doing Twitch or YouTube full time yet. It was kind of just something I was doing as a hobby a little bit on the side, and it was fun, but I was kind of like halfway in, halfway out, like maybe I will, maybe I won't. I didn't have a job at the time, and I had kind of fallen off of doing my photography, and I was starting to make a little bit of money from content creation, but I wasn't like, it wasn't enough to where I was like, yeah, I could sustain myself off this. But this was, I mean, 3-4 years ago, so we're talking about 2019, 2018. I, by this point, had met, Rhyme, Afro, Mikey, and the rest of squad and everyone. So I was surrounded by content creators that I was hanging out with and talking to on a pretty much daily basis. And I felt like between what I was already doing and what I already had going on, what I had learned from being around them, and just the people and network I had around me, I was like, you know what, I feel like I have the keys and the necessary tools to do this if I really wanted to. And so with the release of Dragon Ball FighterZ in 2018, I found a game that I really enjoyed, where I was like, I could probably make a lot of content on this game. And I kind of dropped the ball because I could be probably even somewhere much further in life and bigger than I am if I capitalized on that right when it came out. But basically, I started like really grinding by streaming that game and making videos for that game. And I didn't really knuckle down and decide to do that until 2020, which is 2 years after the game's release. It was literally January 1st, 2020. And it wasn't like a New Year's resolution or New Year's New Me kind of thing. It was kind of more just coincidence that I had made up my mind like that day or that night that, you know what, I have an idea of what I want to do, and I'm 100% confident that I can do it. So I'm going to knuckle down. I'm using this game as like my focus, and the rest is history, I guess, as they say. I mean, here we are over 100,000 subscribers later, and many Twitch streams later. And now I've played other games as well, but that's definitely the one that started it all for me. So
that's so fire.
I just decided that I wanted to do this full time, and I was fortunate enough that I had something that I could use to get me to where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And with niching down in Dragon Ball FighterZ, that it like because like on this podcast we talk a lot about culture, and the fighting game, the FGC culture is a monster in of itself. But niching down to the Dragon Ball Fighters culture, what does that mean to you? Like that community within itself.
So for me, it was more so about having a game that I enjoyed a lot and resonated with me, and was something that I knew that I could rely on for a decent amount of time, and also would be something that I wouldn't feel like I was burning myself out on. I've obviously been a lifelong Dragon Ball fan. You know this already, but for those who are listening, I've been watching Dragon Balls for as long as I can remember, since the very beginning. Read all the manga, seen every series, seen every movie. So it's a series I love a lot. And when it released, I was like, yeah, I mean, this is a game I could see myself playing for years. And here we are 4 years later, and I'm still playing the game 4.5 years later. And it was something that I knew I could commit to. And I think that's what it was for me, because I think a lot of people, when they start like their big grind, or they're trying to like blow up on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, they end up picking something that pigeonholes themselves, which is a risk I was willing to take, right? Because I believe that I was charismatic enough and entertaining enough and likable enough as a creator and as a person, that if I got a bunch of eyes on me from this one game, as with anything, when I start doing something else, the viewership is going to fall off some, right? But I will have built myself and established an audience that will be there no matter what,
You
even
have that
if it is
core
lower than what got me there.
Yeah.
Because like the way I saw it was like, I was getting like maybe 1,000 views was great for me on a video. Having 50 to 100 viewers was a good day. Now I'm at a point where I'm averaging hundreds. Like if I stream DBFZ right now, I might have anywhere from like 400 to 600. If I do anything else, I might have a good 200 to 300. So it's like, yeah, there's a significant difference in viewership both on Twitch and on YouTube when I'm not doing DBFZ. But it's like, I mean, to have 200 to 300 viewers,
that's still a lot.
When I was averaging 20 to 50, and on a really good day 100, or if I got a host like 100, for the main game, I'm like, yeah, I've come a long way. And I was able to do that because, again, with DBFZ, it was a game that I know I wasn't going to get burned out on. I love that game, and I also know that myself as a person, I'm the kind of guy who can do the same thing over and over and over again for a long time before I get tired of it. And that's with like everything in life. That's just who I am. Like I can eat the same thing multiple times a week, and not be like I need to. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people are not like that, but for me, like I don't know what it is, but like I don't have an issue with like doing the same thing over and over again, especially when it's generating some sort of results. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, with Dragon Ball, I was like, well, this is a series I love. This is a game I love. This is a niche I feel like I can tackle. And it's something that I can commit to, I can stick to, and I think will be beneficial for me. I think I'll enjoy what I do, and I think it'll take me places, and it definitely has. I was definitely right on all of that, and it definitely worked out.
Oh, that's fire. I love that. I love that. Absolutely love it. So, going forward, like where do we see Lotus going in the future?
That's a good question. I mean, I've definitely branched out since the release and since that initial grind. I play other games. I'm playing a lot of Tekken right now, but even Tekken itself is an older game. Hopefully, we get a Tekken 8 announcement at Evo. That's like my biggest like hope or wish. I'm not like banking on that. I'm not confident it's gonna happen. But like if I could have one big reveal or announcement at Evo this year, it's like Tekken 8.
Yeah.
But just more fighting games in general. I've been playing a more variety of things like on my Twitch stream. I actually don't play DBFZ that much on stream lately. I love Monster Hunter, so I'm playing a lot of Monster Hunter. Just other RPGs and stuff that I want to play, like especially when it comes to my Switch, because I have a whole stack of games that I've bought for my Switch that I haven't played yet. But yeah, I think I just want to do just more in general, not even just like a bigger variety on Twitch and YouTube, but I think I just want to find more avenues of revenue and things that I can do in a creative space that broaden my horizons, I guess, because one of the reasons why I started streaming on Twitch was not only because I enjoyed it a lot, and I was just like, well, if I'm going to be playing video games for 6 or 8 hours a day, I should just stream it, because why not? But I also didn't want to have all my eggs in one basket. When I started like grinding on Twitch, I had a lot of people say, why don't you just stream on YouTube? And it's like, well, if something ever happens to my YouTube channel, then I'm screwed. I lose both at the same time. So that's why I liked having the two different platforms. And I have some ideas, some of which I don't want to speak into existence just yet, because I don't want to get people's hopes up or commit to something verbally that I'm not 100% set in stone with yet, but I definitely have ideas for other things I want to do, not just YouTube and Twitch wise, but just in general, I guess, for the Lotus Asakura brand, if you will. And I say the word brand loosely, but also a bit more literally, because I do have some ideas that I want to put in motion, but I got some other priorities I need to take care of first before we move forward with that.
You got a brand. Oh yeah, you got a brand.
Definitely.
That's so dope. That's so dope. I'm glad that you have somewhat of a vision, because not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people have like, an outlook to their future, and they're just going day by day, just trying to figure out, stuff step by step. So that's really good on you. And when I said in the beginning that you were talented, like, you're actually talented, whether you want to to know or not, because when we were playing the DNF dual beta, I noticed, like, because we're on equal footing there, because we don't have, we're
that's
just
not true, but continue.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're like we're on equal footing as far as playing the game, but like I could tell when we were like in a match, you have that extra game sense that not a lot of people have. Like with fighting games, you just have it.
Wouldn't you say that just comes from playing a lot of fighting games, though?
It
especially
does.
With him playing fighters, like he's got to be able to react to a lot of things really fast. But DNF is way slower.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But like I play fighters as well, but not to the point where he does. But it was something that I picked up while I was fighting him, because I was like, damn, there's no way that I would have moved like that. And I think we were both playing Dragon Knight or something like that. But I was like, damn, I would have never thought of doing it that way. And like, you just have that extra sense.
Like, I guess if you're comparing myself to the average person or somebody who plays, like if we're just taking the fighting games, right? You compare myself to the average person, or maybe somebody who just plays like casually, or maybe a little bit more than casually. Maybe I do have something there, but like the issue with me in acknowledging that is always that I'm comparing myself to the people that because I'm surrounded by people who do this for a living.
Pros,
yeah, like the literal professionals, like the Sonic Foxes and the Kill Stages of the world, the Kazunokos and Goichis, and I mean a lot of these guys who you see at the highest level fighting games, I've befriended and gotten pretty close to, and like I'm homies with, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and I'm not only talking with them and interacting with them, and sometimes even creating content with them, I'm obviously playing with them, and I get smoked when I play with these guys. But I guess that's also what puts me on another level than some of the other friends I have around me that aren't as into it, or don't do it on a daily basis. But it's like it becomes so hard, I guess, sometimes to acknowledge your own level, or like your floor, when you know how much higher the ceiling is. Because like if I'm playing a brand new fighting game or if I'm playing Guilty Gear, right, or Dragon Ball, and I'm fighting Lord Knight and I'm getting smoked, it's like, yeah, I'm smoking most of the other people I fight, but like this dude's kicking my ass on a daily basis. So how am I supposed to feel like I'm so talented? Like I must not be that talented. But then I'm talking about somebody who's been playing fighting games competitively for like almost 20 years. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well,
I think it comes into a lot of, I was going to mention it earlier whenever Mikey brought it up, but it's a lot of who you're surrounding yourself with, right? You have a future, you have a vision for yourself with your channel, your brand, and that I want to say mostly can be attested to the community that you have around you, Rhyme, Afro, Nano, all of them.
Yeah, that's definitely by design. It worked out coincidentally, because I didn't, like, when it comes to YouTube, I didn't go out seeking specifically like Rhyme Style, Afro, Nanogenic, C-Rex to like put around myself. But when I saw that opportunity, when I saw like that path open up, I took it, because something I learned at a young age, like just one of the sayings I always heard growing up that was instilled in me, whether it be by my father or TV or books or whatever media, was surround yourself by people more successful than you. And that's something I've done in multiple aspects of my life: content creation, fighting games, whatever.
Yeah, that's true. It's called like the proximity principle. Yeah,
like when I joined Squad, I was the smallest YouTuber there by far. Like I had, I don't know, maybe 1,000 subscribers or less, and I'm surrounded by guys who have multiple hundreds of thousands. And now I have over 100,000 myself, and that's great. And then when it comes to fighting games, like all the people that I interact with, for the most part, are better than me. So it's just like, if you surround yourself by people who are successful, you'll probably end up being successful too. If you surround yourself, or like my dad say, you surround yourself by people who ain't shit, then you ain't gonna be shit either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, you can oftentimes be a reflection of the company you keep. And they say birds of a feather flock together. And if your whole flock is flying, then you gonna fly too. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. All right, spitting. I hear it. That's definitely it works out for sure. It's you can't really take away from your you said you had a hard time kind of seeing where you are floor wise because the ceiling's so high. I think you can't really take that away from yourself as far as talent goes, because you're playing people that minus LK, because to my understanding LK is doing way better now content wise since you guys have met compared to what he was doing before. And that's because
there's a few guys, and I ain't gonna take too much credit, but there's definitely a few guys in the FGC who Lotus may or may not have a hand in and helping them and, and teaching them some stuff.
It's funny. I knew it the moment I saw his thumbnail style change. And I was like, he's got it. He's something.
You know what's funny about it? So LK is definitely one of the people that like I wanted to see succeed, and I, any advice or questions he had, I'd help, and we definitely, he's one of the guys in the FGC I've made the most content with. But what's funny about it is that, so eventually he ended up getting a thumbnail artist, right? I don't know if he found him himself or if his team, Beast Coast, helped him with that. But when Guilty Gear Strive came out, I really liked the style of thumbnails they were making. And like I didn't really think that it was inspired by my stuff. But it's funny how things came full circle because I mean, as you've probably seen, there's 1,000,001 people who try to copy my Dragon Ball style,
which is fire, by the way.
Hey, I appreciate it. But seeing it on another game, I didn't really recognize it as mine at first. So there was a particular thumbnail that LK had that I actually got really inspired by, and I kind of like not mimicked it, but did something of a similar style myself. Right? Obviously, I put my own little spin on it. But then I shouted out the artist or whatever. I was like, this was inspired by it. So I was giving my props, my credit where credit is due. And I believe the name was Sutenchi. Yeah. And it was funny because then they hit me. They was like, yo, that's crazy because this whole style was inspired by you in the first place. I was like, oh, shit, for real? I didn't even.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, it was funny how that came all the way back around. I was like, oh, shit.
It works, dude. It works, like it's one... that's what I hate and love about the FGC, dude. It's so much of us that we see it, we like it, we do it, we copy it, we recreate it, and then none of us like we don't mesh. No, not even tension. It's like you look at okay, I'll use strikers, right? Like Shinobi strikers or the Minecraft community, thing like that. You see a lot of collabs, you see a lot of talking. The community, everybody kind of knows each other. They talk, right? But then in the FGC, it really feels like I'm just playing in the arcades all over again. I'm the best 8-on player in Houston or whatever. All right, I can't tell nobody my 8-on tech. I can't let him box me.
I think there's a lot of ego in fighting games.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot harder for a lot of these guys. And not everyone. This obviously doesn't apply to everyone. I mean, the FGC is called FGC for a reason. I mean, the C stands for community, and there's definitely a community there. But I think that is an issue that exists within it. And it's not exclusive to this. I'm sure every community is going to have some people like this, but I feel like it is common because it's a very competitive scene. I mean, it's just like sports. There's egos in sports. And then any field you're in where you're competing against, a bunch of other people, there's going to be some ego, but I think it's very common for people to be unable to set that aside for the sake of, collaboration or bettering each other or even oneself. And, I'm fortunate enough that I've been able to work with some people who don't have much of an ego or were able to put that aside in order to, create some sort of beneficial mutual relationship in terms of content creation, things like that. Because actually, when DBFZ came out, well, not right when it first came out, when I started on my grind, I'm probably going to mention Lortnat a lot in this because he's like my, you know what I'm saying? Like that's my big homie. He's the one I work with the most, and I talk to the most, right?
That's how I am with Kinsu.
But he was one of the first ones I reached out to, and I was like, yo, like you're a player whose skill and knowledge in fighting games I recognize and I admire a lot. I want us to be able to help start bridging the gap between the casual and the competitive scene, and create content together, collaborate, and then kind of I'll show some guys with some of the more hardcore competitive stuff is like you can start teaching some of the more casual, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't do it to the extent that I originally had planned, but we both did like kind of do things together, and then also he found his way, you know, in the content he was creating, and I continued to be able to shed light on things like that that he was doing. Like, yo, like Lord Knight, super knowledgeable player, been doing this a long time, like you need to go check him out, like this is what he's got going on, and just, you know, just again, just shedding more light on the competitive scene, because I have a lot of people who watch me that either didn't play fighting games before they started watching me, or only played DBFZ, or, you know, were just button mashing, and now they're like, you know, they're watching tournaments, they're entering tournaments, you know what I mean?
Yep. They're learning Oki and setups.
And quite literally, because like actually one of the big videos I remember doing on my channel and having a lot of fun with was a whole guide on just the terminology that exists within the FGC. Like, what is a Oki? What is a mix-up? Like, what's a 50-50? Like, you know, what does it mean to have a command grab? What's a command normal? Just like stuff that if you play fighting games, it might seem like super basic and simple, but if you're somebody who's just been, you know, just button mashing your whole life, or just playing casually, or wasn't that invested in them, you don't know. And that was a video I made with Lord Knight, and I was really proud of that video.
Definitely. Oh, that's good stuff for sure. I love it. Absolutely love it. And we need that. I wish there was more, you know, and from my perspective, it's like, your floor is up here and then mine is down here. So we're always looking up, and it's like, damn, they just did that. That shit was fire. Why can't X, Y, and Z do that too? You know, like if we got more people to do it, and then you talk to them, because I talk to these people at, you know, at locals or tournaments, anything like that. And we meet, and it's their mentality for content is nowhere near the same. Like that's what I was going to mention earlier, is that you have that advantage over them as a content creator, because you understand how content works, YouTube, Twitch, things like that. And then there's like, I'm just going to play the game. Like, I'm just really cracked at playing this game and figuring stuff out. So they don't have the same concepts behind it in terms of like, all right, this will be a great video. I should use this as a video or material and then turn this into that, or I should promote myself this way. But when you talk to them about it, it's like nobody else has told them that. They're like, oh no, I was just doing it because I saw so-and-so do it. Or I thought it would be a good idea because, you know, new character. And I'm like, you could have done so much more. Like, who's helping you?
But you know what? I think that's a good way to start, because it makes me think of like how I am sometimes in fighting games. Because this is going to be like a real specific and like real niche. But like Base Vegeta, obviously a character I like a lot in DBFZ, right?
Right.
The way I learned how to play that character was by watching Sonic Fox when they were playing the character. Because I always tried to play Base Vegeta when the character came out, like way back in the first year of the game. But I didn't have the execution. I couldn't do his combos. I wasn't that nice at the game. But when I started playing him again, funnily enough, Sonic Fox picked up the character not too long after I did. And I learned how to play it by watching them. And not necessarily like them teaching me stuff, or like, but it was like, I just started copying what they were doing, not understanding why I was doing it, but then figuring out why I was doing the things I was doing. So like, again, real specific example, but I feel like such a fucking nerd. But like something I saw Sonic Fox do was like, they would do like key blast, and like a bunch of rapid key blasts into like medium rocket kick. I'm like, okay, I don't know why they're doing this thing, but I started doing it. And then after I did it a few times in matches, I was like, oh, the key blast frame traps into the medium rocket kick. So if they try to jump, they get hit by this, and it's a medium skill start. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't know why I was doing it when I did it. I just did it because I saw them do it. And then I realized after doing it why. And I think the same thing can be applied to content creation or just whatever. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this because I saw Maximilian do it. I don't know why Max is doing this, but after you do it once or twice, maybe 3 times, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And then like, you know, the wheel starts to spin, the cogs start to mesh. You're like, okay, I'm starting to develop an understanding of like why this is this way, or why this should be done that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's crazy. As a fighting game player, I would have never put those two things together to like, damn, that's why they do content that way. And it's like, all right, you know what? That's a good example. That's cool.
If I could play devil's advocate for a second, as far as the big dogs of the FGC, and we're not talking about really content creation, talking about more of the, you know, the prize pool winning guys, you know, Sonic Fox, Goichi, they have a huge reason to not be so buddy with people. And, you know, I guess the top 8 people, I would say, you know, the regulars who always place top 8, the Hooks, the Goichis, the Kazunokos, all of them,
Punks, the Idoms.
Yeah. They have a huge reason, and that's because they're protecting their money. Like, so say for instance, you know, you playing like a casuals match, and they they do some type of, just out of instinct, some tech that's not even out yet. Now the tech is out and they can't even, they can't use it for, their advantage at the next tournament.
Yeah.
So there's a whole business side to it. It's just, there's always going to be that disconnect within the fighting game community, because there are the casuals and there are the professionals, and then there's the people in between who just go to those tournaments to get clapped. Let's just be honest. But
I think
that's the fun part about it.
I think that definitely is something. I think that definitely is something that still exists for people like kind of holding on to certain stuff or like hiding it for tournaments. But I do think that with the age that we live in, with social media,
it's so
with
hard
streaming, with YouTube, it's a lot more difficult and stuff. And like even with like Discord and everything now too, I think tech and secrets get out a lot easier. And also you just have a lot of people like they discover something and they want everybody to know, because it's like because when I beat you, I want you to know what happened, and you still couldn't do nothing about it, right? Because again, that part of that plays in the ego and pride, and the part of that is like that competitive nature. Because I know like, for example, like somebody like Leffen, right? Yeah. I don't think Leffen the type of person who's going to hide tech. Because Leffen will want you to know that like when you lost, I was just better than you. You know what I mean? Like or Punk. When Punk beats you, he wants you to know I was just better than you. Like,
I did that.
I'm not alpha. You can't win. You know what I mean? So it's funny. But I also think that oh no, I lost my train of thought for a second.
It happens, dude. It happens.
Yeah. Damn, it really do be like that when it be like that, especially when it be like that. Oh, I was gonna say that I remember. I was gonna say I think another thing is not only when you're one of the top competitive guys, but also when you're like a larger content creator, and I guess larger, however big you are, is subjective, right? Because to me, I'm not that big, but there's a lot of people out there who would kill to have, the platform I have, right? So I never want to take that for granted or make it seem like I'm not appreciative of that, because I am. But again, I'm always looking up, so I'm looking at Max. You know what I'm saying? Rhyme, Afro, a million plus. But you become wary and reluctant sometimes, because it feels like often there are people with ulterior motives or people who want to use you, and that becomes very difficult, because you, on one hand, like you want to collaborate more, or maybe give a creator who's smaller than you now a chance, or things like that. But some people are so blatant with it, right? To where they're just like, they very clearly just want to use you for clout, quote unquote, or they're just trying to, get their numbers up. And like, I'm not saying it's necessarily a wrong thing to want to grow or think that collaborating is, going to be helpful or beneficial to you. But I will tell you this firsthand from experience, that in most cases, just doing a video with somebody who has 10 times your subscriber base isn't going to do that much for you, especially if your content is trash or you are trash, which if your whole goal behind it is to grow off of somebody else and kind of like leech, then you probably are trash. I'm not gonna hold you. Because I've done how many videos with Rhyme and Afro, and like they have 1 million plus, and like it ain't like I got 1 million plus. I don't even got 500,000. I'm not even at 250,000 yet, right? And the first video I ever did with Rhyme, I don't remember how many subs he had. It was definitely over 100K at the time, but I don't remember the exact number. But like I said, I had like less than 1,000. I gained like 100 or 200, which was a huge deal to me at the time. But it ain't like thousands of people suddenly swarmed to my channel and were like, yo, you know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't work like that anymore. It just doesn't.
I think it's gradual though, right? Like you associate Squad with so many of y'all, you know what I mean? Like even Mikey doesn't do content anymore, but he's associated with Squad just based off of association, because they hear you in the calls all the time. They talk, they listen to you guys talking about this and that and the third. So I think it really just comes down to that, and more so of bleeding communities, if you will. And less on the video aspects of, because that's how it was before, right? Before, back in the day, YouTube's just starting off, you do a collab. Oh yeah, cool, man. Half of my subscriber count is going to come and follow you because I told them to. And whether or not they're dead subs is a totally different story. But that's just how it worked back in the day. Now it's just based off of who you are as a person.
No, I really think that being a part of that friend group has, it's opened my eyes up to a lot of different avenues and a lot of different ways that, content creation can be done. Because you think about Dotto, you think about Dion and Rhyme, the three idiots. Like that shit just came out of nowhere. And who'd have thought those three guys would get together and be as big as they are?
Right, and it was so random too, because it was just Ryan being Ryan. Like we all know Ryan. He's fucking goofball, right?
He's a literal goofball.
Like he literally just titled the video three idiots take on. I don't remember what the first one was called, but it was like 3 idiots try to take on. I think it was a Dragon Ball FighterZ raid boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a stupid little goofy title from Rhyme Style, and then it just caught on.
Yep.
Yeah,
right,
and
worked.
then it was yeah.
Pretty cool.
The chemistry them guys have is crazy.
Yeah,
that's the word, chemistry.
They're all a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said that word, because I feel like that is very important. The word chemistry. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. They're just like, oh, this person has a lot of numbers, so I want to work with them. But I've definitely talked with people before who, I just keep it a bug. They're just socially awkward, or they don't have a lot to say, or they don't really have their footing yet in this thing. And it's like, sure, you can guide people, you can help them. And I feel like I'm the kind of guy, especially as much as I talk, when I do start talking, I can definitely carry a conversation.
Yeah.
But some people are genuinely really hard to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just no chemistry. And it's like, well, I mean, this is only going to go but so far.
Right. I can only give so much. Give back. And
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's just be like, yeah, this ain't gonna, you gotta talk more,
but it's like being in a relationship, or like when you're in the talking stage with somebody, like, it's like, yo, like, I am carrying this right now. I'm doing everything. Like, you gotta, this is supposed to be like a two-way street. It's supposed to be like, hey, I didn't even say they gotta be 50-50. You can be 60-40, 70-30, maybe?
Right.
Like, yeah, but with some people, the chemistry is just not there. And you also sometimes you just might not have personalities that match, or you just might not be into similar things, or just, you know, the energy might not be there.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that's worth noting too, is because I might sound or come off as friendly to a lot of people, and I'm not saying I'm like this big bad asshole. Maybe I am, depending on who you ask. But like, you know, I didn't get into this, and I'm still not into this to be everybody's friend. I'm not here to make a bunch of friends. That's never been me, right? So I don't feel obligated to be friendly with everyone and be like, you know, oh, I just, this person exists over here, so like we should be cool because we do the same things. Like, I could be cordial, we can coexist in the same space. Doesn't mean I have to be buddy with you. And I think a lot of people feel like, if we're both into Naruto, we're both into Dragon Ball, we both do YouTube, we should be the best of friends. Like, that's not quite how I roll.
Slow your roll, boy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we not gonna be best friends overnight because we both do the same thing. I mean, because there's a lot of people who might have the same job. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of y'all out there who work regular jobs. You hate your coworkers.
Right. I'm indifferent. So, I mean,
well, I'm saying, like, but it definitely exists. Like, just because you have a similar interest or because you do the same thing doesn't necessarily mean you're always going to be friends.
Right.
And I think that some people feel like you should be, or you're almost obligated to, or like, but it's like, you know, not everybody's going to get along. Everybody has the same energy. Not everybody has personalities that mesh well, and that's definitely something I wouldn't even say I've learned, but just something I've known from the beginning, and that's something that has been proven to me over and over again, is that, hey, some people are just not gonna be on that same energy, and we're just not gonna be able to get along because it's just not gonna work out, bro. Your personality not gonna mesh with mine.
And it's crazy because the community will rope you in to those certain circles where you just like, I have never even met that nigga.
Yeah.
Why?
Nah. I've had that happen a lot where people are like, yo, you should do a video with so and so. I'm like, I don't know, so and so kind of weird. So and so kind of strange. So and so can kind of stay over there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad y'all enjoy that person's content. Wish them the best. Probably won't see me make a video with them. And again, it's like, you got to be selective with who you surround yourself with, and the people that you collaborate with. And, you know, you may or may not miss out on some opportunities because of, you know, how you view certain people. I'm not saying to be super judgmental, but I think integrity and like your own character definitely plays a large part.
100% for sure.
Into what you're doing. Because there's definitely people out there who, you know, I don't really associate with for one reason or another, whether it be something that I've seen or I've known, or just me being stubborn or hard-headed or whatever in my own ways. But there have been some opportunities I passed up on that probably could have helped me out a lot. Nothing that would have been like life-changing, but, you know, something that I'm like, people would like this. But again, I think you got to prioritize yourself more than anything, in terms of, like, you know, how you feel, your integrity,
right.
Sometimes, and not necessarily be all about the bag. Because I feel like currently, you know, especially, you know, with social media, it's all about the bag. Gotta grind. Secure the bag. And like, I feel you. I've been doing that, but not at the detriment or the sacrifice of, you know, how I view myself, or how I respect myself or feel about myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Mental will always and forever come first. And that's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn. Like,
I don't ever want to, I don't ever want to do anything that Lotus from a few years ago would have been like, you old bitch ass nigga. You know what I mean? Because that's how I look at certain. Because that's how I look at certain stuff. Because like if I had a homie, right, who I knew didn't fuck with so and so, and then they do this big collaboration, I'm like, you old hoe ass nigga. And I don't want to look at myself that way.
No, I think that integrity is 100%, because and I was about to say a lot of people don't get that. They just don't understand that doing one thing to get this little boost isn't worth it in the long run, because now people will know you because you did that.
Yeah.
You did that. And then once you get bigger, you got skeletons in your closet. If that even happened.
That's another thing too, is that like I can't, like I'm just me, bro. Like, and I hate when people start talking about, oh, I'm a real nigga, this, I keep it 100 and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't be fake. I can't pretend to like somebody I don't. So if I do this collaboration with so and so who I ain't really feeling like that, right? And then it does well, and people want to see more. Now I gotta pretend to be this nigga friend. I don't even like this nigga. Right. I'm good. Right. I'm good. Right. I'm good.
Right. Yeah, that authenticity is very paramount within, the content creator space. And like I say, once again, not a lot of people understand that.
I was trying to say the unfortunate part is that authenticity is lacking.
Yeah, I think it's an experience thing.
In a lot of people. I say this from firsthand experience of seeing or hearing one thing online and then going to these events or conventions or whatever, and people's energy is just not being the same.
We talked about that in the last
episode. It's just not being the same people.
Pull up, baby.
I'm just, because like I've had this happen to me on multiple occasions now. It feels like every time I pop out, there's somebody who I meet that is just not at all the energy they were on when they was online.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, keyboard warriors, man, they're gonna talk mad shit.
Those Twitter
and definitely a few of those, but not even just the warriors, just like the people who like. I feel like in general I'm a good judge of character, but there's people who I'm like, oh, they might be a cool person or a chill person. Then you meet them and it's like,
damn,
you got it, bro. Like you got it.
Go catch my flight, bro. I'll see you.
I'm gonna go now. You hit him with the but I gotta go handle this over there, whatever. And I'm gonna just take my leave, bro. Like you want some other shit.
That's valid.
I love it.
Definitely valid. How many interactions like that would you say you've had so far since you've been going out more?
Just in terms of like people just not keeping the same energy in general, or like somebody wasn't as cool as I thought they were when I met them.
You can go with both. You can separate them if you want to.
I mean, so I've had like 3 different occasions where like somebody thought they was all big and bad, and then I pulled up, like not necessarily like trying to fight, but like, yo, we got an issue, and of course we didn't have an issue because.
This is the real world, and
I was gonna say, and I'm not no tough guy. I'm not no big, you know what I'm saying. But I ain't no bitch either. And like, I'm just gonna keep like that's always me. The same person I am in front of this camera, behind this keyboard, in front of this mic, is the same nigga I'm gonna be when you see me. Right? Ain't nothing gonna change. Mm-hmm. So like, I ain't no bitch. I say in my high pitched voice, I ain't no bitch. So when I see you, I'm gonna be like, yo, so what's all that shit you was talking? We got a problem, and no, we never do. Yeah, we never do.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like people just not being who you expect them to be, I've had that happen on 2 solid occasions, but a couple more I was like, I ain't really going to extend that arm to this person like I thought maybe I would be able to, because they ain't really keeping it 100, like you know what I'm saying. And I've had a couple instances where this is so weird to me too, where people pretend like they don't really know who I am, even though I know damn well they know who I am.
I can't imagine. That's funny.
And that's not even like ego thing. It's like, do you know who I am? Like, no, I'm not saying it like that, but it's like, I know you know who I am, but you're pretending like, oh, yo, hey, like, I think like, no, nigga, you know exactly who I am. Like, why are we playing this game? Like, I don't walk up to people like, yo, are you the kill Sage? Like, no, nigga, I know that Sage when I see him. Like, you know, the first time I met certain people, I didn't go, oh, yo, yo, I think I seen like no. Oh shit, yo, what's good, Lord Knight? Yo, what's good, Sage? Oh shit, yo, Neo Judai, what's good? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That shit is weird to me. Like, I guess it's just like sometimes it's that awkward first interaction. Yeah. But then like with some people, like that awkward first interaction, it doesn't like go away. They're just weird like that the whole time. I'm like, all right, never mind. Never mind.
I get you. Damn,
sometimes
that's funny.
Sometimes it just be nerves though. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can tell, you know, like nerves between the weird shit.
I was gonna say, I get that. And again, just like carrying a conversation, like, you know, I've definitely had some, like, I was just at Combo Breaker, right? There was a bunch of people who I met. They were like, yo, what's good, Lotus? And then, like, they had nothing to say after that, but, like, they wanted to talk a little bit, right? So I'm like, oh, shit, yo, Lotus, can I take a picture? Sure, man.
Yeah, that is awkward as fuck.
Yo, so you enjoying the event? You having a good time? Yo, you signed up for any of the games here? Oh yeah, man. You know, I was in Dragon Ball. I went 1 and 2, whatever. But you know, I was having a good time. Oh, yo, that's what's up. That's what's up. You know, I'm glad you're having a good time. You know, I'm just walking around vlogging or something. I'm probably about to do that a bit more, but you know, for sure, I see you around. I'll see you around, man. Y'all appreciate the support. Yo, thanks, man. Love the videos. And then. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
you got to make that swift exit because it's just
yeah, and like, and I get it because a lot of these people they might not have the best social skills, and some of them are nervous. So you know, as the content creator, like as the person they're walking up to, like I'm not trying to make them feel bad about it unless they say or do some really dumb shit. Like if you disrespect me, that's another story.
Right.
But like, you know, somebody just walks up and they're just kind of like awkward about it. I'm like, you know, I got you, bro. What's good, my nigga? How you living? You enjoying the event? You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
That's really dope. I love to hear shit like that because a lot of people do that. I mean, I've seen it firsthand where, you know, you got, you know, people who are shy or they want to come up and get a picture and then, you know, like they'll just be like, what the fuck was that about? In their face.
Hey, hold on. I'm gonna put Shorty on blast real quick. Y'all used to have Shy on here, right?
Yeah.
The first time I ever met Shy was at TwitchCon 2019, and she was too scared to come up to me. So her friend, was like, yeah. She with the yo, my friend wanna take a picture. She wanna say hi to you or something, whatever. And I was like, okay, sure. And I didn't know what she looked like before, like back then. So I had no clue who she was. It's like, hey, I'm Shy TV. She's like, she's like 5'2" or something. I'm like 6'3", so I'm towering over her. So I can imagine why that might have been kind of intimidating. On top of, you know, meeting somebody who like you're watching and stuff, and this is your first time seeing them. It's like, oh, well, I'm huge, so I guess that makes it even more frightening. And that's again something I take into consideration, into account, like when I'm at these events. Like I'm a big guy. Like I'm 6'3", and I'm like around 200 pounds now. So. You know, I ain't no, I used to be, but I ain't no little nigga no more. So it's just that much more intimidating, I guess, when people are meeting me or seeing me for the first time.
Yeah, I can't let you attack Shy like that though, bro, because I did the same thing with Etika. My very first time meeting Etika was at TwitchCon. It might have been that same one. It was either 2017 or 2019, one of the two. Whichever one, he threw that wild ass party, and he was inviting all these people, and he had the DM for it. And that was the year that I met him, and I was with Patty Trills and NC, and we were walking, and I just saw him walk by. You know, it's impossible to not see him when you see him.
Yeah, he's even bigger than I am.
Yeah, you know, and I froze. Like he was just minding his business, walking by, but he was looking for something, and I froze. And Pat's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Did we just pass Etika?" And he's like, "Oh shit, that is Etika. What's up?" And so I'm like, all right, cool. Let's keep it pushing. Like we can just go do whatever the fuck we were doing prior to noticing that was Etika. And he's like, "Ain't that like your favorite guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but we ain't gotta bother him. He looked busy." He was like, he's just standing there. And I'm like, no, we're good. And so Pat walks over to him, and he's like, "Yo, Etika, what's up?" You know, he does the meet and greet thing. Pat's super social, and so he's like, "My guy here." And then he looks at me. He's like, "I know you." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, you the other flat top guy." And so we dap up or whatever. You know, that was our way of meeting. And I'm like, damn, dog, I felt like a bitch. I was nervous as shit. Told everybody about it, man. It was crazy. But I feel those moments, dude. I feel those moments.
Etika, man. Joy Comboys forever.
Facts.
For real. I don't think I've ever had that.
Yeah?
I can't remember any time where I was like, I met Etika and like it wasn't like that. I wasn't afraid to meet him. It was like, he was just a really cool fucking dude.
I don't think you would have that though, because like, and I'm not throwing it like as an insult or anything like that, but you're older than
I guess I do have that. I mean, I don't know. I think it's more of, I'm just nonchalant about everything, to be honest.
I'm like that now.
I was gonna say, I feel you because I feel you because I think I'm like that too. Because the way I see it, it's the same way myself is the same way I see all these other creators. I'm just regular ass people. Cause like the way I said, I'm just a regular ass thing. You ain't like I fuck with you, but you ain't no one special. I'm gonna walk up to you like I'll walk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm gonna be respectful, but like I don't feel like I've ever been like starstruck by somebody. Yeah. And I understand why some people are, but like it's just for me, like, cause I think sometimes people put people on a pedestal, or they might idolize them, or you might have like grown up watching somebody. It's like, yo, it's this person I've seen like all this time, like this, they're real. And that's another thing too. It's like maybe for the first time you're realizing like, yo, oh, this is a real physical person. I've only seen them like on the internet, no, and like I said, like, you've been watching them.
I have a saying. That's another thing too. I have a saying that like, until I meet you in real life, you don't exist. You're not real. I get what you mean, because like you're just like even if I see like a picture, a video of you, like you don't have a real form yet until I've seen it. You know what I mean? Like. Because the expectation is always different from the reality. It's always different from the reality. Sometimes that like you'll go and meet somebody and be like, oh shit, you're shorter than what I thought. And it's always like that. It'll never be you're exactly how it's never been like that.
Yeah.
I will say Afro is a little bit frumpier than I thought he would be.
What does that mean? What is a frumpy?
Hey, yo, wait a minute. What you mean?
No shade. I love my nigga Afro.
You trying to cuddle? Like, what does frumpy mean, bro?
No, he's a bit thicker than what I thought he'd be. I'm not saying he's fat, but he's more husky.
Yeah, but like.
All right, now I was just making it weird.
Afro, you gonna let him talk about you like that, man?
Yo, no, whoa. You're not even in his top 5, bro. You gotta be on our side with this right now, bro. Remember, he was.
You're right. I'm not even one of his like the creators that inspires him. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Twice.
You know what's funny about that whole thing is that like Afro genuinely is like one of the people who inspires me the most, just from his work ethic alone and like the grind he's putting. Because like I wasn't there from the very beginning, but I was there during the Storm 3 days and like watching the blow up over Storm 4. Like. I think when I found Afro, he was on the explosion. He might have had like a little less than 20K, I want to say, and I was watching, coming back to the channel every day. Like the next day, he got like 25, and then it was 30, and then 50, and then 100. Like, and it seemed like it happened so fast.
That blow up was insane.
Yeah,
absolutely
it was.
Insane.
And he's the only creator I've ever seen blow up multiple times. Like he's had multiple times where his shit just like the blow up from wherever he was to 100K was like whoa, and then like the blow up from like 100K to $500,000, and then like from $500,000 to $1 million, and now he's over $1 million, and like it's still like rapidly increasing. You know, like watching them blow up off Elden Ring, and then Sekiro. Oh, I'm going in reverse, but like Elden Ring, Sekiro, and just like everything else, and then the Mugen stuff is like he keeps finding, and he's just a super creative and super talented dude. He's like honestly, I think one of the best creators I've ever seen. But like,
I always give Afro his flowers when we talk about
facts. He's just it's just incredible what he's able to do over and over again.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me too, because when we talk and he'll like when I was doing Genshin, he didn't really see a lot of stuff with Genshin. He's like, that game's gonna be whatever. But then he saw my first couple of videos, did really good with it, and he's like, keep pushing Genshin. And then the way he explained how it was just, I have an eye for it, right? He's just like, I can tell if a game is gonna do good or not do good.
Bro, that's one of the craziest things about Afro is that like Afro, when you watch his content and when you talk to him, a lot of the time he seems like a super goofy, kind of chill, laid back dude.
Yeah,
he's ridiculously smart when it comes to content creation.
Oh,
like way more than you would think because
that
of how
his work.
yeah, because like you get like a I want to like not a predisposition, but you develop this idea of what you think Afro is like or what his personality is like based off watching his videos. And like Afro is like that, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're sitting in a Discord call with him, you might get that super animated, loud, crazy Afro, but like he like everybody else, he do be chilling sometimes. Sometimes he be tired, sometimes he be sleepy, sometimes he just be mellow or whatever, right? And we all have multiple sides to ourselves, but like I don't think most people would expect him to be as intelligent and as like as perceptive and well thought out with this content creation shit as he is. Like some things just happen coincidentally and by mistake, but there's a lot of stuff Afro has done that was completely by design. Like he had the vision and he was like, nah, watch this, and then he just does it.
That's what surprises me every time too, because he'll call it before it happens and he's like, this is the one, and I'm like, how do you just know this shit? Like anyone else can do the same shit. Afro, not even him planning. No. He just knows it.
If you know how Afro does his videos, and I've sat on like many calls him like planning out his videos, and like he's very meticulous in how he wants his shit.
Right. So, no, you're ahead of me. I'm not even talking about the video and like the design of the video. I'm talking about the product before the video, like with Elden Ring, right? And we knew that because he's really gotten the Souls game stuff lately.
He definitely called Elden Ring, which I think wasn't like a super difficult one to call, but he was like, nah, this shit gone.
He knew it was going to take him $500,000. He was like, this is going to bump me to closer to, you know, the 1.5 or whatever it is he's trying to hit. I think he's almost close to what, 1.2 mil or 2 mil, something like that.
Nah, I think he's over 1.2 now. Yeah,
okay,
I think
okay. Is it 1.7 now then? He's somewhere, but he knew it was going to take him there. He knew Elden Ring was going to be the game to do that.
He's at 1.72 already.
Yeah, see?
That's what I'm saying. Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you, he knew. And I'm like, how the fuck? Like, the only game that I'll ever say was probably accidental was Sekiro. But he took it. After
he took it and he ran with it. And he fell into an entirely different genre.
Or like the whole Mugen thing. Like y'all were. I don't think Mikey was there, but I was with it. I'm gonna take some credit. Part of the reason why he did that was because of me. Because you know what happened? The reason why Afro started doing the whole Mugen thing, which blew up, by the way. And I'm not saying this started with me, but like I was there when this idea like blossomed and developed.
Right.
I had gotten really into like watching Salty Bet. I think it was him, me, Omega, and then sometimes somebody else would be there. It was basically like us three, like mainly, right? And y'all know what Salty Bet is, right? Yeah. So for those who don't, it's basically like there's a stream on Twitch where it's called Salty Bet. You can like bet like virtual currency or whatever on like these different like fights that's gonna happen between all these different Mugen characters. Long story short. And we just got to this point where we were just all on super fucked up sleep schedules. We'd be up 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and we'd just all be on Salty Bet, right? And this is something I had been doing for a minute. And I don't remember how it like got brought up, but we just started watching Salty Bet a lot and voting and stuff. And like we just got really invested into it for a short while. And then we started talking about like, you know, like content creation around it, whatever. And like Afro, his mind started racing. He came up with like all these ideas or whatever. And he was like, nah, like there's something here, like for real. And he had like this whole, you know what I'm saying? Like I watched it go from like this little like throwaway off the cuff thing to like, nah, bro, wait a minute. And then
Afro deadass be having like Jimmy Neutron brain blast.
Like real talk.
The idea in his head, it's a fucking brain blast, and he has everything worked out before he even types anything and notes.
He'll tell it to you. He'll talk to you about it like for maybe a minute or two tops.
And then he'll leave Carter and just get it done.
Yeah. That's all you hear. Mid-convo. Boop. And then next thing you know, there's a whole video coming out the very next day, if not that night.
300,000 views overnight.
Yeah. I'm like, how the fuck did you do this? Then he comes back and calls, nah, that's light work, baby. That ain't nothing. I'm like, bitch, what?
And he'd be like, nah, with this video I'm gonna do next. Wait.
God damn, man. I love him though. I love him.
Yeah, that's my nigga, bro. That's my big homie.
Yeah,
facts.
For sure. Love my nigga Afro.
We're speaking about content, and I want to ask Lotus, because you primarily on fighters. If there were any other game that you could do now alongside fighters and get equal to, if not more, what's the word? Revenue, like, right? Like it's successful. What would it be?
A game that actually exists, or like a new game?
Yeah. Or anything that's coming out like in the immediate future. So immediate being like the next 2-3 months.
I mean, I feel like the other game I'm playing the most right now, outside of 2K, just because I'm just really into basketball right now.
Yeah.
And I don't like the fact that I'm playing so much 2K, but I am. Is Tekken. So really? I guess I want to say Tekken, because like I'm doing Tekken content on the channel, and again, like we spoke on earlier, it obviously doesn't do as well as the fighter stuff, but it does okay. Still getting several thousand views on it, so I'm cool with that. But like, there's got to be a new Tekken game coming in at some point in the near future. I mean, Tekken 7 came out in 2015 on arcades, 2017 on console. So like, if Tekken could be the next game where like I could just ride that wave, that would be cool. But I feel like that's thinking too small. If I could really pick anything, so that's another thing. I'm thinking about something that like already similar to what I do, or something that I would enjoy. If we're talking about
anything,
if we're talking like anything, nigga, I'm trying to be the next big league streamer or Fortnite player somewhere. I can make millions. Well, no, that's the thing. I don't like or play any of those games, but like that's where the money is.
Yeah, where the money is.
Like if I could, I'll put it like this: like if I could like reword the question, if I could transfer my skill in like DBFZ or in fighting games to any other game genre, I'd switch it to MOBAs or FPS.
Bro, you know what's crazy? And I don't you know Kensu, right? Like Shin Kensu? Or you know the okay, yeah. So him and I talk all the time about
the
this.
chip player.
Yes. And so he got me into like Valorant, you know, heavy into Apex, stuff like that. And every time we play, he's like, fuck, man, I wish that I just didn't play fighting games. And I'm like, what? And he's like, because the money is here. And we go into this whole spiel about why the FGC is in a bad state right now because of the developers, because of the community, stuff like that. And it's always led back to the same thing. He's like Apex, Valorant, League, Riot, everybody that does anything with quote unquote esports. That's where the money is. They ride it. They know what they're doing. You look at their content creators and they're eating.
Yeah, well, hopefully Project L shakes things up for FGC
That's
in the best way.
3 years minimum, though, man.
Hey,
I know.
Wait, 3 years minimum.
Y'all younger than me, and I can wait.
Okay, yeah, but like, bro, that doesn't matter. Like, all right, look, realistically, if Project L was like, hey, we'll come out in 2024, into 2023, that gives me a roadmap of what it is that I'm looking forward to and how to go about it. But because it's just, you know, out in the abyss, I don't even know when it's coming out. For all I know, they'd be like, all right, cool, we're dropping it in December. Even though I know it's not ready, but if they were to just drop it in December and know like prior to, before a month prior or whatever, it's like, damn, dude, I could have been prepping all this content for fucking Project L or whatever. But I don't know. Closest game to Project L is probably going to be Infinite or, no, Power Rangers. Power Rangers is the closest game to Project L that I can see right now. That game is nice.
I
for the grid.
Like I wouldn't even know what to compare it to, just based off what we've seen so far. And I never played Power Rangers, so I can't really speak on it. I was supposed to play that game. Me and Ryan were supposed to get it when it came out. He never bought it, so I never bought it. So I never tried it.
Mikey loves it.
I love it. I absolutely love that
it's
game.
It's actually a really good game.
It's so good, but it's so slept on.
Yeah, like because it's small and it's Power Rangers.
You would love the combo system in that game.
Probably.
It's so easy, it's so simple, but it's so fucking deep. It's really oh my god, I can go on forever and ever talking about Power Rangers.
That's why I say I think Project L would be closest to that. It's 2v2, I think, or is it 3v3 now? Did they change that in Power Rangers?
Power Rangers has always been 3v3. It's
always been 3v3. All right, well, just remove one of the characters. Then it feels closer to Power Rangers as far as the button schematics, the combos they laid out. Because I mean, they talked about it during their whatever you call those things when they not the interview, but let us show you what we're doing. Showcase. There we go. Thank you. They talked about Project L in the showcase and how they were working on it, the special moves, the inputs, things like that. And it looks very similar to how Battle for the Grid is right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar, but just, you know, obviously a twist to make it much more esports ready, if you will, because that's what they're aiming for. They've already come out and said it, and it's being made by two of the people that previously ran Evo, if I'm not mistaken. They don't give a fuck about casual, like not in a negative way, but it's like their definite goal is this is a game for esports. Like we're adding fighting games into the Riot bubble for esports. So their priority, you're going to see a lot of patches, a lot of updates, fixes, hot fixes. That's going to be the game. And the only other game that is going to compete with that, from what we can tell now, Street Fighter 6. As much as I love Guilty Gears, Arc Revo is not it. SF6 is that's the one.
I mean, I think for the most part, though, I mean, for as small as Arc 6 is, which I guess they're a lot bigger now than they've ever been, obviously, but I think they've mostly handled Guilty Gear Strive pretty well. And I think that game was wildly successful. I can definitely see like what their whole tour and everything is never going to compare to like what Riot can do just because of their sheer size and like resources. But I mean, Arc Rebel hasn't been awful, I don't think.
It's not horrible.
But maybe I'm one of those people who's just like, I'm just so used to things being bad that I just have such low expectations.
You do
I thought it was pretty good.
Fighter in you.
You know what I'm saying? But y'all know that's how it is though. Like in the FGC or like in the anime community, people are so used to consuming garbage that they're just like, this is not bad. You know? Yeah. It's like, bro, you're eating literal garbage. It tastes fine to me.
No, Arc Revo's not horrible. I'm not saying that, but you know, okay, easiest thing to compare it to is Capcom Pro Tour. And when I look into it, you look at Capcom, they have commentators, they have events that run weekly or monthly, and these events are all geared towards, the player points, the revenue, and then meeting up towards the end or the beginning of next year to duke it out at the finals. But you have all these events prior to it. You've got these online events lined up for it. There's so many opportunities for, Mikey, for instance, right? Somebody that doesn't really play it too seriously, but if he wanted to, he's got a whole year to earn his way to the top. And it's right there compared to Arc Revo. Arc Revo doesn't have any of that. We get commentators here and there if it's a major event, but that's already a major. I think like what the CEO Taku is the first one coming up for the World Tour for Arc Revo. And that's already something that we're going to have commentators at. That's already something that's an actual tournament that's just being hosted, for Arc Revo. So ArcSys isn't really pumping anything into it to make it their thing. Like the World Tour isn't their thing. But you look at Pro Tour for Capcom and it's like, no, that's Capcom's thing. Like regardless of Evo, regardless of Showdown.
I wonder how much of that though was like, again, it goes back to like a resource thing. Cause like, I have no way of knowing. Like, I don't really know how to look into this. How big ArcSys is now? Because like they were a pretty small developer for
they were super
most of their existence. Like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue and all these games, like they were pretty niche, I would say. And it's only like after the release of DBFZ that they're like, have seen this wild success. And again, I'm trying so hard not to make it sound like, oh, nobody knew who the fuck Guilty Gear was before Dragon Ball, because that's not true.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. That, like, because it's almost true. It was very small.
But I mean, yeah, there are millions of people who heard Arc Systems for the first time because of DBFZ. Like that just is what it is. Like I'll be honest, like I couldn't have told you who Arc System Works was prior to 2017.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like I probably heard it before. I'd heard of Guilty Gear, I'm sure, right? But like, I never once touched a Guilty Gear game. I never once like could tell you anything all out about ArcSys before 2017 when I found out DBFZ was going to be a thing, and I did my due diligence, I did my research, and now I actually play Guilty Gear and stuff. But I'm somebody who plays fighting games. I just didn't play those ones.
Yeah,
right. I was a lot more casual back then than I am now, but. Yeah, I wasn't, I wasn't in the scene like that. And I think unless you are, you probably didn't know. Or if you just were somebody who randomly came across Guilty Gear at one point, and that's just the game you played. Because that is the case for some people, right? Some people grew up playing Street Fighter. Some people grew up playing Tekken, Mortal Kombat, myself, And then you had some people out there who were probably playing Blaze Blue, Street Fighter, and then came across like Persona and shit. And that's cool. But they definitely got way more spotlight and everything after DBFZ. Like that is just a fact.
Definitely, yeah.
I think
so. Yeah, I said all that. My bad. I was just saying. I said all that to say, like, I wonder how much more resources they have to put into something like a World Tour now. Like, how much are they capable of doing a lot more than they already are, or is what they're doing already the best that they can give? I don't know.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's definitely a good question. I wouldn't know either without dipping into their pockets. You just kind of look at it from I guess maybe the way that I would look at it is what they're currently doing, and maybe what I would like, I probably wouldn't do that. I would give you guys more of this type of thing, like a trade-off.
I think what they do next will be like whatever they come out with next, whatever the big thing is next, is going to set the stage for their future. Because you have to really think about, like, now that Riot is entering the the FGC space,
this will force a lot of people to have to step up.
Yeah, they're gonna have to step up.
Sir.
So whatever they do next,
I think we're already progressing towards that whole. These developers need to step up because people are more vocal now than ever before, especially like on Twitter and stuff. And then you have all these content creators speaking about things in YouTube videos. Let's take something like rollback netcode. We're at the point now where people are like, if your game doesn't have rollback, we're not.
Nobody's buying it.
We're not playing it. And that's not to say you're not going to sell any copies at all, because you will. But like, people are really adamant about this. Like, no, rollback netcode is a must in your fighting game. If your fighting game does not have rollback netcode, we're not supporting it. Pretty much every modern fighting game coming out now since that stance has been taken is getting rollback, and a lot of games are getting it retroactively. DBFZ, we're still out here struggling, but it is what it is.
You want to know what's so funny?
They're too big to get rollback, and what I mean by that is people are still going to play it whether they have rollback or not. No, there's no player base fall off. Because like the player base is already falling off of DBFZ.
I think they're working on
the game. I would say the game is 4.5 years old.
Right,
so yeah, like people are still playing it. Right.
I think it's a fighters too that's why they haven't really said anything about rollback, because they've already implemented it into the next iteration of fighters.
If that's their next step, then yes, they have to do. First of all, they have to do a rollback, and then they have to do a proper tournament mode.
Yeah, man, I don't know why we don't have a built-in tournament mode.
I still don't even know what that is in games. Like, what is that?
What do you mean?
like a proper tournament mode in the fighting game, what would that look like?
So I don't know if Mikey's thinking of the same thing I'm thinking, but like you play Storm, right, Yoku? You never played Storm before?
Y'all are the competitive Storm players that I've never.
Shit.
I would say I was competitive.
Casually, but like
I'm saying, but like you know how Naruto Storm has a tournament mode where you just like you.
The first time I touched Storm online was a year and a half ago.
This nigga don't even have a watch on.
I don't know why. I don't know why I thought you knew more about Storm. Okay, well basically it's like a built-in mode in the game where like you can get some people online, start your own tournament. They have some sort of weird tournament thing in DBFZ, but it's like I just want something as simple as like what they had back in the old Budokai games or in like the Storm games where
I remember those like the arcade little thing or whatever in the Budokai things where it had the actual brackets.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Like that's something that's mad simple would be like super useful because like you could do it instead of us having to rely on things like. And again, I it's not like I dislike these things like challenge or smash GG or I guess it's now start GG, but like you could just do it all in the game, right? Where you could have. And again, maybe you'd have to limit the amount of players, and that would be why you'd still use like these other sources, right? Because maybe you can't do like a 200-man bracket in the fucking game, but you could do like 8 to 16. I think would be nice because you make a mode where it's 8 to 16 players. You give creators and other players an avenue to get their own thing going. Maybe you start your own little weekly, or you have this new way of doing content. It's like real quick, simple, easy. It's within the game. You can get 8 to 16 players online. You can seed the bracket yourself. You just mix and match where the players go, whatever. And then you can shuffle it randomly if you want to, and then they just proceed like that. And you can pick it
that
to
would
where
be
like in
so
Storm,
amazing for content creators.
I mean,
and then in Storm you can pick whether or not you want all the matches to run simultaneously, or they will go one at a time, so you can spectate each one. And like what I'm saying, that would be great.
I was thinking more of a grander scale, something similar to what Overwatch has or Call of Duty. How they have their tournaments set up, and they have the little spectator modes, and then they have what sides you can see. But I mean that's FPS, but it would be like how Street Fighter, all of their stuff is played on the practice mode stage, but when they show it to the world or whatever, they pick the stage and all that kind of stuff to make it better for the players, but but beautiful for the viewers.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a really cool feature that most fighting games should have that's going, leaning toward esports.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I didn't know that existed. That's actually really cool. I want it now. I'm on board.
Yeah, I think it'd be dope. Because like I especially me being me, like I would if it was that simple, I'd run some little weekly tournament. Yeah, I'm gonna get like 16 people. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get like 8 or 16 people to hop in here. And we gonna run a little tournament.
Right, you just give out a code and random people join.
Right, and this is beneficial in so many ways because now you're giving players an opportunity to get some sort of like online tournament experience. You're giving creators more content. You're giving people the ability to like develop their commentary skills as they commentate these themselves. You're giving players just another game mode, just more within the game to make it more worth their money to buy the game in the first place. Like it's so beneficial in so many different ways. There's so many things that could come out of the addition of that one game mode. You know what I mean? Especially if
everybody
done well.
eats off of that.
Yeah,
definitely. No, that would be a wave right there. I think that is what most of the community kind of cries out for without actually saying it, is more content in the game that isn't like, of course it's a fighting game, we're gonna fight, right? But more things to do with the fighting. I think that would be really nice if fighting game developers took that into consideration about what we could and couldn't do, because content creation as of now, we're in a position where, I'm just gonna say it, content creators can make or break a lot of games. If for whatever reason DNF came out and Lotus, Afro, anyone that had numbers and credibility to their name within the FGC was like, yo, this game is dog shit, don't buy it. I promise you that game would sell like dog shit. It just would not do good because of the credibility behind, what the content creators say. So I think fighting game companies...
I've definitely seen a lot of people have that sheep mentality too, where
it happened to kill a kill.
Shout out to Grand Blue.
They admire certain content creators so much that they just take their word as law and just like, oh, max millions of this game sucks, so I'm not buying it. Oh, Afro said that game trash, I ain't even gonna bother. You know what I mean? And it's like it's not the creator's fault, but it's like sometimes they don't even realize, and like sometimes I don't even realize how much power your words have.
Yep.
But yeah. Also, Grand Blue really got the short end of the stick, especially because like the pandemic and everything.
Such a good game, man.
Yeah,
it is good. Okay, so speaking of Grand Blue, like I guess his predecessor, probably DNF. It feels like a little slightly faster version.
Nah, that's what I've been telling people. Cause people have been comparing to certain shit. I'm like, nah, like DNF Duel is Grand Blue. Like it's the same game, damn near. I mean, obviously, it's got its own unique differences, but I'm saying, like, if you were to compare it to any other game, it's Grand Blue.
Yeah, definitely.
Just swap out a couple of mechanics. Yeah, it's Grand Blue.
If they could just add the push block from Grand Blue, like the defensive shit in Grand Blue, I'd be happy. That's all I want. And then DNF would probably be. I would honestly ride out DNF for the entire year, if not longer.
I think DNF has a better chance of succeeding because even though Grand Blue had a really good IP behind it, it had bad netcode and the pandemic hit. Well, now DNF has good netcode and the pandemic is not as. Yeah, we're still kind of in it, but like we're not at the peak that we were. Like, because I mean, Grand Blue came out like right as things were kicking off, and it was like, oh well, rip.
There's a lot of people looking at DNF right now, just surprisingly from that beta. But the more I looked into it, because I couldn't stand this game, but the more I looked into it over the last few weeks, I'm like, damn, this game is actually kind of nice. So many casual fighters games players, like I'm excited for DNF. They want DNF.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's one of those super accessible games that, like, obviously as a fighting game player, you're gonna find the depth and you're gonna be better than somebody who's just mashing. But like, it's a super easy game to get into. It's like super casual friendly. It's I see a lot of developers taking this approach to their fighting games lately, and I think most modern fighting games are doing it really well. Where you have like the snobs or like the sucker people who are like, oh, baby game, this game's for children, blah blah blah, but then play it anyway, or they keep talking about it even though they aren't playing it. But like, ever since like Persona and maybe even before that, like you have games where it's like, you know, auto combo this or like, you know, shortcut input here, and it makes the game more accessible. They're cutting out some execution, which for some people is a bad thing, for some people is a good thing. But they're making like a lot of stuff easier, and like they're increasing like, I guess, the showmanship of it, or like, you know, that spectator feat that makes it more enjoyable for people to watch as well. And there's like simple stuff they do too. Like if we look at Tekken 7, just like the slow-mos, yo, that shit is mad hype. Everybody loves that. That's such a small thing from the add into the game.
It's so hype they added it to Street Fighter.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it makes it such a much more incredible and enjoyable spectator sport. So I feel like they keep lowering the floor for a lot of these games, while still maintaining some of what makes it a competitive fighting game. And, you know, like again, some people have different opinions on it. I think they've been doing a great job with modern fighting games in doing that. I don't think you just keep making the floor lower and lower, and that's how you're going to get people to stick around. I think you got to exercise other avenues in order to keep people playing the games.
Yeah, at some point they got to innovate.
Yeah. Right.
There needs to be a reason why I'm like continuously getting better at this game.
Yeah, but I think we're at a pretty good middle ground in fighting games where like anyone can pick it up and play and have a good time. But if you put in more time, like you're obviously going to become much better and more skilled. Like there's still depth to be found in even the simplest games.
Yeah, for sure.
And for an ending note, because we are a little bit past the hour, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter actually complaining about Street Fighter 6 in the easy button mode. And it's not even a mode. It's just like, because, you know,
it's a mode, but like it's a mode only for the player that selects it.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually looked into that very much. The only Street Fighter 6 content I've consumed so far is like I saw the first initial reveal trailer. I saw the thing that just happened at Gamescom, Games Fest.
Yeah.
Summer Games Fest.
Games Fest.
Yeah, there you go. And I saw one Maximilian video. I don't even know if it was him playing or if it was someone else playing. They were playing like Jamie versus Chun-Li, I think.
Yeah.
So like the whole like simple buttons and all sorts. I haven't checked out any of that stuff myself yet. So maybe one of you two can answer this for me. Is it basically like stylish mode and like a Guilty Gear, for example?
Kinda. So it's
or like the simple controls for like DBFZ, like on the Switch.
So, sorta. It's probably closer to stylish, but you control what it is that you're doing. So in stylish, you know, you press you mash buttons and you get a combo here or there. You get a special, whatever. In Street Fighter 6, they're leaning it more towards you use my controller. Your face buttons, right? So you have all the buttons like normal. Your whatever, you only have 3 attack buttons. So Street Fighter is a 6-button fighter, but with the simple mode, it's only light, medium, heavy. So it's closer to fighters. And then you have your special button. And so from the special button, think of it like Grand Blue, right? You have your directionals up, down, left, right, but they only do so much.
Oh, so they turn into an anime game.
Kinda, but you don't have all your moves. You're missing half your move list because
a trade-off. It's not just like,
yeah,
oh,
there's
we're
a
just
huge
making
trade-off.
it's like, it's not, oh, we're just making this execution super easy, so now you can just do one button supers with Chun-Li and be broken. Like, no, there's okay.
Yeah, like and there's no mashing, so it's not like you mash square and you get the full, light combo or something like that. It's like, no, you only have light punch or light kick. You only have medium or crouching medium.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
So on. It is, but it's their way of introducing, because Street Fighter is a 6-button fighter compared to what we've been playing 4-button fighters the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, give or take.
Yeah.
So you're introducing them to something they didn't play 5, because
I would call Street Fighter a traditional fighter.
It is. It is definitely traditional. Like, it is the traditional fighter.
The scheme for like Guilty Gear or Dragon Ball would be more anime fighter, and they're 2 totally different things. But the scheme for Street Fighter, to switch it up like that is,
well, it's only the simple, because you still have your, what are they calling it, classic? Your classic is the traditional. Yeah, it's still.
I feel like that's kind of like a kick in the nuts to people who want to play like casual like that.
Well, it's encouraging you to learn the game, though. That's all it is. Like, it's not there for you to I'm bodying I'm bodying J-Wong in tournament simple mode. Like, nah, you're gonna get your ass beat. You know,
and that's what I'm saying. It's like I think like the way that my mind works is that's a detriment to getting people to play. It's just like, well, I picked simple mode for a reason. And if I gotta go hard mode, then what's the fucking point?
Because you're learning the game.
I think the idea is that more often than not, if you're the type of player who's going to be picking the simple mode, you're not playing against super competitive players anyway, right? You're probably playing with your friends or your family, maybe people like on your couch or whatever. You might have like a game night with the boys, or whatever, and y'all just like, just master some buttons, just doing some simple stuff. Now, none of y'all are really good. You're just, having some fun, whatever. That's how I picture it. I think that's probably how they envisioned it and why they implemented it, because it's just like Guilty Gear, like, no one's going to tournaments using stylish mode, like, what I'm saying, like no one's going to a Tekken tournament. I mean, maybe there are like 1 or 2 people, but like they're going there for the fun of it. They signed up just because they're there, and like they're going 0-2 or 1-2, and they don't really care, you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to Tekken and using the auto combos, and like no one's going to wherever and just relying on these simple modes, think they're going to make a top 8, you know what I mean? And then it gets to the point where maybe you do play it enough, you're like, you know what, man, let me check out what this classic mode is all like. I'm trying to start winning some games, and then you're like, let me figure out how to actually play this game. I think that's the idea behind it.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Definitely.
That nigga like me, that's not how my mind works.
I mean, yeah, and not everybody's gonna see it the same way, and whether or not it flops or does well is yet to be seen or determined. But I don't dislike it. I definitely, hearing that explanation, it seems to me like this is like another common case of some of the more skilled and maybe stuck up players being like, baby game, why are they making shit easy? It's like, bro, it's not gonna affect you. It's probably not gonna affect you.
It's definitely not gonna affect, because like at the end of the day, skill is skill.
Yep, exactly.
So whether you use simple mode or it's skill.
Right, because simple controls don't teach people whiff punishing or Oki or frame traps, or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you can give somebody a 1-button DP. Doesn't mean they're going to use it at the right time, or you're not going to bait them and still punish them for it. They can just do it more often.
Yeah.
And sure, you could say like, oh yeah, but there comes that factor of my opponent might mess up their DP input and I get to punish that way. It's like, okay, well that's still an essence of like randomness that you can't really take into account or really accuse. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like you reducing some of the execution barrier for another player, I don't feel like is going to really drastically affect you competitively.
Right.
The only thing that I will always complain about is 1-button SPD. I do not need a 1-button command grab. They better not. That better not be a special move for Zangief, bro. If you have simple mode 1-button SPD,
it's over. It's over.
It's bullshit.
It's over.
Such bullshit, dude. Imagine him just walking up to you and just pressing a button SPD. Like, yo, you didn't do the motion.
that is hilarious to think about. But I mean, I guess we'll see. Like I said, I haven't looked at too much to myself, so I don't have too much of an opinion on it. But we'll see how it works out.
All right, y'all. On that note, that'll be it for this episode, man. Thank you so much for coming on and just shooting the shit with us about some FGC shit, Lotus, man. Absolutely love to have you again, if you're willing, anytime. You got any things you want to shout out before we get out of here?
I mean, shit. I mean, y'all can follow me pretty much everywhere at Lotus Asakura on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. I mean, I got an Instagram. I don't use it that much anymore. It's Supreme Lotus, but if you type in Lotus Asakura, I'm pretty sure I'm still the one who shows up anyway. But yeah, pretty much every platform that matters, I'm Lotus Asakura. You can find me there. A lot of Dragon Ball Fighters content, Tekken 7 as well. Got some vlogs here and there, haul videos, pickup videos. I talk about like clothes and shoes sometimes. I mean, y'all can see behind me. I got a lot of shoes.
Got a lot of
manga
shoes.
and stuff.
He actually put me onto a lot of shoes.
You know what I'm saying? Gotta get the boys fresh. But yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, I'm still on my grind, playing a lot of fighting games, streaming a lot of RPGs and stuff, and that's pretty much it. I appreciate y'all for having me. It was fun chopping it up with y'all, man.
Definitely. For sure. I gotta do this more often, man. I like picking brains, right? It's a cool thing because I don't get to interact with you guys a lot. It's like usually through Mikey. But everyone that he's brought on so far, it's like, damn, that's good knowledge. I like that. It's just, an hour is not long enough for me, but
usually we would run about 3 hours, but I'm not down for editing like 3 hour shit. So
that's cool. Like it's already been an hour and a half, and it flew by.
Yeah. All right, well, that will be it for this episode of the Royal Roundtable. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, peace out and have a good day on purpose.
Peace.
That's it for this episode of the Royal Roundtable podcast. If you're listening on any of the podcast services such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please drop a rating. And if you'd like to listen or view the podcast early, you can go over to lostroyalty.co and become a premium member for just $4.99 a month. You'll also get access to exclusive chats within our Discord. Discord link will be included in the show notes below. The Royal Roundtable podcast is produced by Mikey J and Sacred Almighty. Executive produced by Ioku. Video and sound by Mikey J. Intro song is by Zenbuster Music. Social media links to Royal Roundtable Podcast and all crew will be included in the show notes. Thanks for listening.